Hey Geekscapists, Jonathan the Podfather here. And when I first started Geekscape back in 2006, it was just a podcast, but then it grew into a podcast network and a community. And the whole plan was to turn it into a production company so we could make cool films and TV ideas and all sorts of stuff for you guys. We'll always be doing the podcast, but right now I want to let you guys know that we're running a Seed and Spark campaign for one of our first original productions. And this is a co-production with Dweeb Darlings and Fonco Studios called Stalking LeVar. It's a continuation of the web series Stalking LeVar. If you go online, go to YouTube or dweebdarlings.com and look for Stalking LeVar, and you guys will find a pretty fun 2 seasons of this show. We're going to make a short film out of it, but we're going to need your help. So go to seedandspark.com, search Stalking LeVar, as in LeVar Burton, and you'll find our project. Listen, if you can't donate, it's okay. Just follow and share. That'll help us out a whole lot. And then if you can donate, as some of your fellow Geekscapists have, we'd appreciate that too. The campaign's going to be running for a while, so I really, really appreciate you guys checking it out, and enjoy the rest of this show.
Hey! Maybe I'm just nostalgic, or maybe it's truly magical. Oh, when I see that castle, the feeling is truly magical. Maybe I'm just nostalgic. Maybe it's truly magic. Maybe I'm just nostalgic. Maybe it's truly magic.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Brooke.
And this is a Disneydo podcast.
This week, we decided to finish our bottle of wine, grab a box of tissues, and discuss the top 5 Disney moments that always make us cry. Last time we did a top 5 list, I took the lead. So, Andrew, let's get right into this. What's your number 5 Disney moment that made you cry?
Well, Brooke, as you and I discussed briefly earlier, we didn't make a damn list this week.
We're doing it live.
We're doing this live. We are going to discuss our top 5 most sad Disney songs. Or not songs, moments.
They may include songs.
They may include
that's okay.
songs, because sometimes the songs are what provoke the sadness. But I'll start out by saying, as many of our other themes for the episodes, this one is very hard because so many Disney movies have a very sad, traumatic element to it. Mm-hmm. So as far as like narrowing down the list, thinking about over the past couple of weeks, like what some of the most sad moments were for me, I found myself referring back to like my favorite Disney films, and some of my top Disney songs that we've talked about in the past because of those movies that have such a big impact to me, and that I have very fresh in my memory are also some of the ones with the most sad moments. Mm-hmm. An example of that would be Toy Story 3.
The incinerator.
The incinerator. Yeah. See, Toy Story 3, I can't decide which moment is more sad. If it's the incinerator or the very end when he's giving the toys away.
They're very different sads.
Yes, they're very different sads. When the toys are going into the incinerator, my childhood dreams were literally being crushed in my head. And I don't know if that was like the point of that, but it was literally like, oh my god, this is how they're doing it? This is what they're going to do?
Nothing good can last.
No!
And what does that say about Pixar that ran through your head as a plausible ending to the movie?
That's how real they made that.
I was like, this happened to all my toys I got rid of, and now I'm an asshole. They died in the incinerator. I'm so sorry, all my prior horses. I love you.
It does make you think back, and I think that's part of what that scene was meant to do, was to make you think back to the toys you had, the ones you've thrown out and that have kind of disappeared over the years. And so it's sad for that reason, and then also that movie being such that franchise of movies being very close to my heart, that part crushed me.
Well, yeah, you grow to love these characters, and it's for them to go out like that, it's very Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
And then they all hold hands and look at each other.
They embrace death in that moment. They all just like hold each other, and you're like, this is it. And I'm just like, no! No, it's not it. Fight for your life.
They give you a 5-minute scene of them slowly going to their fiery death, and right before they shut the shit off, it's holding hands and accepting that they're
Well,
dying.
yeah.
And you accept that they're dying.
They're trying to fight it off, and then they can't, and they're just
Yeah.
like, "This is it." And then the little aliens come in with the claw and save them. And I've never loved those little bastards so much.
I know it's so perfect.
It's like it's that roller coaster of like tragic sadness,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're so happy they get saved. It's like this relief
100%.
of these relieving tears, happy tears.
And then they kill you then at the end because
Andy leaves.
yeah, Andy's leaving. He's saying goodbye to the toys, and
It's kind of like saying goodbye to your childhood.
That's what I think. That's it. You know what? That was the saddest part between the two, because again, as I've told you guys before, when that movie came out, I was graduating high school, which was exactly what Andy was doing at that point in time. And so, you know, as he's saying goodbye to his toys and saying goodbye to that chapter in his life, it was an immediate reflection on me saying goodbye to that chapter in my life. And it was like, oh my God, like this is all just over. It's all done. All this is gone, moved on. And yeah, especially now knowing what it's like to be an adult.
Yeah,
Fuck
give me
that.
my childhood back.
Yeah, it's sad.
Please.
It's very sad.
No, I agree. I think that's such a profound moment. That would also be in my top 5. Would be Toy Story 3. Both of those moments really sad, in good and bad ways.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to throw out, since Toy Story 3 would also be on my list, I'll throw in The Fox and the Hound when Widow Tweed abandons Todd in the forest, as just so heartbreaking. I mean, even as a child, you know it's sad, but I'm a dog mom now, and I can't imagine just dropping one of them off and never coming back. Even if it's what was best for them, there's, oh my God, no ways. They're so confused. Todd's little like head tilt, like, where are you going? Oh, it makes me so sad. I can't think about it.
And then that song they play during that.
Oh, they always get you.
Well, and then it's almost worse because like she looks devastated.
Well, yeah, she didn't want to do it,
Yeah.
but she knew he was like a wild fox, which just makes it.
Well, it's to save his life because the farmer
Yeah.
threatened to kill him.
It's just. All of it is so sad. She's so sad. Todd's confused. There's nothing good about that moment. Nothing. There's no feel good aspect to that scene. It's all horrible.
Everything's just being ripped apart. It's really...
Oh, God.
I feel like that may be like one of the saddest scenes in any Disney movie. Just because of the build up to that. And it doesn't really like... It's not like after that it's like, ha, just kidding, everything's great. And it's
It
like,
just
no,
stays
it's sad.
Yeah.
It is just sad.
It's like nothing's going to get better from here on out.
Yeah.
Like, this
He's
is
gone.
Do you know who one of the animators was on Fox and the Hound?
Whom?
Tim Burton.
it. That makes so much sense.
It's not sad enough.
And I think to go along with this movie, I would put them side by side as it just being like a sad moment and nothing gets better, really. And speaking of Tim Burton, is Dumbo.
Dumbo?
When what's the called? Baby Mine?
Yeah.
And his mom's reaching through like the bars trying to cradle him.
He's all sad about getting made fun of.
It is the saddest shit ever. Why would they do that? No. And nothing gets better. It's all sad all the time. I don't care what you say about Dumbo. It's all sad.
Yeah, Dumbo's one of those that was just like kind of an overall sad movie as well.
That's why Tim Burton's doing the live action one. They're like, who can make this sadder? Who did Fox and the Hound? Tim Burton, you're up.
Yeah, I haven't seen Dumbo in a really long time.
It has been. Well, that's because nobody wants to watch it again. After you see it, you're done. That's
yeah.
enough, Dumbo.
That's one of those movies you're like, what the fuck? That's not cool.
I always wanted to ride the Dumbo ride because remember, I've never been to Disney. So I've always wanted to ride it. I think that's the happiest part of Dumbo is the ride that you can go on at the park. There's nothing good about the movie.
Normally, I don't like to crush people's souls, but I'll tell you that ride blows.
Why would you say that to me? After I literally it came out of my mouth 5 seconds ago that I want to ride it because I saw it in Full House and Michelle Tanner looked like she was having a good time.
We also saw it in all the freaking Disney commercials that were before your Disney VHS. And they would show the little kids looking all happy. You know what? Lies. Because I went and
really?
I did it.
Try me. Let's go to Disney World and let's see if I'm happy on the Dumbo ride.
I'll look right now.
If I am not happy on the Dumbo ride, I will do something that you ask me to do.
I see that being like your future Facebook cover photo is just
It's
you
like-
with a face of joy on the Dumbo ride.
Yeah. And I'm like, in your face, Andrew. The Dumbo ride was great. Anyway.
Anywho.
So I would add those two in on equally the same level. I don't know if we're going to do a top 5 here. This is getting
just
a little
gonna
derailed.
continue. Well, so again, this is why it was hard to do this whole top 5 because, especially when it comes to ranking them,
It's
and
so
stuff,
like they're sad. And then there are some that make you cry and they're happy. So it's like, how do you pick the top 5 that make you cry?
yeah,
Because there's different kinds of crying. Have you ever cried before? You cry for many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Something could hurt. Something could be sad.
Funny.
Something could be funny. Although I feel like Disney mostly makes you cry because it's sad. But, whatever.
here's the one we're going to talk about currently. Up. We're going to talk about Up.
That was going to be my number one
Same.
for sure.
Yep.
You're going to cry.
Yep.
The first, 10, 15 minutes of Up, you're going to cry. I don't care who you are. It's going to happen.
I would actually argue not even the first. Like, everyone talks about the first 10, 15 minutes, and yeah, like, that's a gut punch. For me, the one that actually makes me cry more in Up is when he finally opens up the book and sees the message that Ellie left him to go live his own adventure.
Stop.
That's the one that kills
was the
me.
one that gets you. But at the same time, if it wasn't for that first 10
if you didn't
minutes,
have that first 10 minutes, that's not going to get you.
that's what really makes that movie so impactful is it opens up, you think Up, you see it, cute little house with balloons, you're like, a
Very
little adventure,
colorful.
we're going to have fun. No. You see a beautiful love grow and then she dies.
She's dead. She can't have a kid,
No.
and then she dies.
Yeah.
They don't even get to go on their adventure.
They never get to have a child and have a family. And they can't even enjoy themselves together because she dies.
She's dead.
And then they take his house. Or try to take his house and get him out of his house.
She's dead.
She's dead.
She's dead. She dies. Dead. In the first 10 to 15 minutes. They waste no time.
And,
it's-
it's like a silent... that part, oh, no, they talk
They have a little bit of dialogue, but it's mainly musical. And that is... It's such a roller coaster because you see this adorable story unfolding, and it's so sweet, and then it just goes so wrong. Mm-hmm. And it sucks because it's also so real. Like, that happens to people all the time.
They are very good about making things as close to real life as they can be, you know? And especially for a child's sake, like, either helping kids relate to other kids or other situations, or helping them in a way make sense of their own situation, just by, being able to say, oh, this happened to me, or I'm in this situation, or I can relate to that, or I acknowledge that.
It's so heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Up. That was going to be my number one. I know that for sure. Because when I saw the movie, everyone had been talking about that part. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna be crushed in the first 15 minutes." And I'm kind of like, "Nah, I'll be fine. I've seen Disney movies before. I know how they can get.
Yeah.
Someone's probably gonna die. I'm ready." I was not ready. Not even close. I was just, I was not expecting it to be as profound as it was, and I don't even know what it is about it that really just gets me. I think it is maybe just how real it is, and how sweet at the same time, because she's thinking about him the whole time, and him about her. It's just a very sweet
selfless love.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's rare.
I mean, it's a Disney movie, so whatever. But
You know, as we're talking about this, it reminded me of something I thought while doing a little bit of my research and reflection on these movies. What I found interesting is that, we're talking about this list, and I was thinking, I want to make sure I'm referencing both animated and non-animated Disney films. But what I find is that the animated films are what have all those really sad, depressing, tragic moments, whereas a lot of the live action ones, like I can't remember getting that kind of emotion out of any of those.
well, I can remember one. I think it might not even be Disney, honestly. Homeward Bound.
I think that is Disney.
Is it Disney?
Is it?
I'll double check, but I think
Is
it
it
might
a straight to DVD?
What?
No, Homeward Bound was
Have
in
you
theaters.
seen Homeward Bound?
Yeah. I didn't know if it was was that one in theaters?
Yeah.
I was young.
I mean, I was young when it came out, and I'm older than you, so you were really young.
Yeah, I loved the movie. We had it, but I didn't know if that was a big theater box one or not. Box
But
office.
Homeward Bound.
Walt Disney. It's Walt Disney Pictures.
Ooh,
Awesome.
okay.
So this is a live
That's one with
action
the little
one.
pets and the kitty, right?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, that one makes the list.
Yeah, that's a live action one that makes the list for multiple reasons. There are a couple points in which I get emotional in that movie. First and foremost, I mean, they're basically towards the end, but when Shadow gets stuck in like that pit in the mud and you think he's going to die, I remember being so little, like very little, and just fucking losing my mind. Like crying, couldn't breathe. I was a wreck. My parents were probably like, why did we have a child? This is a nightmare.
This is why you never got to go to Disney.
Yeah, this is why I didn't get to go to Disney. And I was just horrified. And then at the end, when they get home, when Chance and Sassy get home and they run to the little boy and girl, and they're like, where's Shadow? And I'm just like, oh, here we go again. I'm going to cry. And then he limps up, and I was like, Shadow! He lived! And it's just tears of joy. So it's that roller coaster ride at the end there.
It really
They
is.
bring you so far down, and then they bring you so far up.
They also made Old Yeller.
Okay, we don't talk about Old Yeller ever because that is a fucked up movie that should have never been made, and nobody should ever watch it unless you want to ruin your life. You haven't seen Old Yeller?
Negative.
Okay, let me tell you what happens in Old Yeller.
Yeah, while we're here. While we're
So it's
talking
this
about
story
depression.
of this boy and his dog. I believe Old Yeller. Well, yeah, Old Yeller's a yellow lab, obviously yellow. And they have like this classic. It's this classic tale of a boy and his dog. Well, don't you know that this dog protects the boy or something of that nature? It's been a while because it ruined my life. It gets into a fight with like a coyote or a bear or some kind of wild animal and gets rabies. So you know what happens to animals that get rabies? He has to shoot it.
He has to shoot his own dog.
He has to shoot his dog. It's so fucked up.
When did this movie come out?
In the 50s.
Yeah, it
Oh,
sounds like a
of course.
50s movie. It's horrible. Horrible. That messed me up.
Son.
What? If Rowdy had rabies, I would let him rip my throat out and I would just die. I'd
Do
be like,
they-
it's okay. You're so cute. I'm glad you were the one to kill me, Rowdy.
I'm just gonna keep you in your cage.
Yeah, just eat my body when I die.
Nope.
Okay. And then I bleed out. I wouldn't even care. That's how much I love him. I would not kill him.
How did they do that scene of him shooting his dog? Is it like
I think it's
zoomed up on
mostly
his
in
face
shadows.
crying?
Yeah, I can't really remember it. It's been, I mean, how old am I? It's been over 20 years.
They used to play it on the Disney Channel way too often, though,
I'm
because
glad
that's how I saw
wouldn't
it.
watch it.
Oh gosh.
I remember I wanted to watch it because I've always loved dogs. And I saw a dog and I was like, I want to watch this. Way to go, Mom and Dad. No wonder I am the way that I am.
Mm-hmm.
If we're just going to throw them out there and not do a top 5 list, we're going to talk about The
Let's
Lion
hear it.
King
Yes.
and Mufasa
Yes, there it is.
dying. I saw that in theaters. I was 4. And I went with my mom and my sister and maybe my brother was there, my older brother. I don't remember. But I remember that happening, and I looked over at my mom and my sister, and they were sobbing. And I was so young that, like, I didn't quite understand. And I remember just watching them cry. And, like, I would look at the screen, and I'd look back at them, and I was like, this is bad. This has to be really bad. And it wasn't until, like, I was slightly older when I really understood that, like, Mufasa died in the film, because you see him come back in spirit and in the clouds and stuff, and so it never really hit me till I was a little bit older.
Yep.
But even now, that's a really harsh moment in the film when he dies at the hands of Scar, because I think for me, what struck me was, like, Mufasa, here's the king, he seems invincible. And then he dies. And it kind of is a reflection on, like, your own father a little bit. Like, you think he's invincible, and then, at some point you're going to realize they're not. And for Simba to have, gone through that so young, that's so sad.
Yeah.
It's horrible. But then Mufasa coming through to him spiritually is also such a sweet, sad moment. It's very bittersweet, I guess. He's still guiding Simba, and it gives you kind of that reassurance, I guess.
It's very similar to in Moana, which is also on my list, even though it's one I've recently
when the grandmother dies and she comes back as the manta
it's that same kind of sadness, like that, like they're gone, but they're
but
here.
are they really?
But it's temporary. But it's like that moment.
They live within you. You can feel them around you.
Yeah.
Kind of like in Pocahontas, when they briefly mention her mother and how she's passed, and it's like, she goes wherever the wind takes her, and it's kind of like this sense that, like, she's there.
Yeah, that's a comfort.
Yeah, it is exactly. It's a comforting feeling after you experience, like, this horrible sadness and loss.
Yeah,
and I think Disney did a good job in those films of balancing it. Because when I saw Moana, I thought when the grandmother died, it wasn't that bad for me, because you see her come right back as this manta ray. So it's this sense of, like, okay, she's not really gone. She's with Moana in spirit, and that eases the pain of, like, her loss.
Well, and also with that one, on, like, The Lion King, in Moana, you learn before the grandma passes about her spirituality, and that she says, I'm always going to kind of be here, blah, blah, blah. So you're almost prepared for that. Whereas The Lion King, now he murdered. Scar's like, fuck you, you're dead. And what's the saddest thing is when Simba goes up to him and
he's
like,
nudging,
puts
he's like,
the
Dad.
paw around him. It's like, oh my God.
He's, like, pushing his face, like, Dad, get up. Oh, God, I don't want to think about it. It's so sad.
That may be, like, the most, like, in the forefront depressing.
It's
Disney
so
moment
raw.
for me. Yes.
Because you just see, like, this naive little cub. Like, he obviously just, like, does not get what just happened.
No.
And just like any little kid just wouldn't understand, it's just this very raw moment where, like, Simba's coming to his realization, like, oh my God, my dad just died in front of me. And it's very, and that's the thing that happens with animals all the time too. So it's kind of like not out of the norm in nature. Yeah. But then they add this human element by, like, making these, they're characters, but they make them very personal, and, this is rough. That's a rough scene to get through.
They're so good at killing off characters and just really just getting you every single time.
Gut you.
Like, I think the hardest I've cried in a theater for, like, so there's, like you said, there's the two different types of crying. There's the sad cry and there's the joyful cry. Yeah. Probably the hardest sad cry I've ever had was Bing Bong.
That is so
Inside
sad.
Out.
When he's like, take her to the moon, or whatever he says. Oh my God! And then he just disappears.
How about the joyful tears? How about ones that just, like, hit you at the right spot?
Like, I texted you guys on Friday. I was like, oh, I'm going to watch Coco finally, and that was. You said get the tissues ready, Matt. Like, you warned me, and I was so good through the whole movie. And then the last 10 minutes, like, it was just a tear fest, but it was good tears. When Coco starts remembering the song, what's it called? Remember Me, and she's singing it with Miguel, like that. It's just, it's so human. It's so human, and it's so heartwarming that, you know, this very old woman can remember this song that her father sang to her when she was like 4, 3 or 4. Spoiler alert, Andrew.
I haven't seen it yet.
But it's so phenomenal, and you really should watch it, because like even me talking about it, like other people had told me, I was like, oh, I'll be fine, but it just, they have this very tender moment that just, it gets you. It'll get you.
Damn it.
But in a good way. It's not like a sad. It's like a very happy. I don't know how to describe it, because it's not bittersweet. It's not bad in any way. It's very good, warm feeling.
It's the genuineness in like it. If he was singing the song and she just immediately knew the words, it wouldn't have worked.
But you
it's
can
that she
see her come
slowly,
back.
you see like that she's coming back from not remembering anything, and just it's so beautifully paced. Where like you're sitting in the theater. I remember sitting in the theater being like, she's not going to remember, and then her lips just start to quiver, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Like, oh, here it goes. Here it goes. But that's a good cry. That one was a good one. There was like that good one in Toy Story 3. There's the good one in Homeward Bound. I'm trying to think.
Ooh, another sad one would be. Oh god, that one was sad too. Not as sad, but sad. But Monsters Inc. At the end, when they have to say goodbye to Boo,
Oh, yeah.
I think what makes me really sad is when they get that the door crushing thing. And then the heartfelt sad, or the heartfelt tears thing, is when Sully comes and Mike has reconstructed the door, all but that last piece. Like, that's a really heartfelt moment, that when he gets to, like, and he opens the door, and that expression when they stop the movie, that's a very heartfelt moment.
Yeah. That's a good one. Another sad moment, speaking of Pixar, Finding Nemo, when the barracuda eats everything except Nemo's little leg. But eats Coral and all the little babies. It's very sad. I didn't cry in that part, but it does bum me out.
It's a shocking, like, sad.
It is. I'm just like, wow, that's really like horrible for Marlin. I'm so sorry. We haven't talked about it yet, but this would have been my number 2 is Bambi, because oh my god, just why even live after watching Bambi? It's terrible.
We know Andrew's opinion.
That's one of those, again, though, that it's been so long since I've seen it, and because it has like a super depressing large portion of it, I'm just like, nope.
It's
Not
so
putting myself through it.
well. When I remember watching it for the very first time and not knowing what was going to happen, and just like screaming for my mom, and I'm just like, what happened? And my mom had to like explain to me, like, oh honey, you know, Bambi's mom got shot by a hunter, and I was like, nope, and like threw a little like 3-year-old temper tantrum. I was like, this is some bullshit, Mom. This is not okay. I'm out. And it's still like, I remember, I can feel what I felt like watching it for the first time. Like, I was so confused and just like horrified that could happen. And I grew up in like a city area, so I never saw deer, so I was always fascinated by them constantly. The only time I ever really saw them was when they were dead on the side of the road. So in the very few instances I did see one, I was like, oh my god, I love them. And then you watch the movie and she just gets blasted by this hunter, and it's the worst. It destroyed me as a child. And I haven't watched it as an adult. I'm scared to. I think it would still get me now, because I'm so in touch with that feeling from when I first saw it. Can't do it again. if I ever have children, I'm going to be like, that movie doesn't exist.
We're done here.
I did watch Bambi 2, though, on my 16th birthday. I got it for my birthday. And you guys know how I feel about Disney straight-to-DVD sequels, but I actually liked that one. It made me feel better about my whole Bambi experience. So I was good to end it there and be done.
Oh, that's fun. Nope, I won't do it.
I've noticed that I've been in the last couple of years getting really emotional over music cues where they'll bring back. They won't necessarily sing a song, but like they'll pull the melody line of a really powerful song and play it in the background just as like something happens. Like one that pops in my head is they use the melody line of Part of Your World later on at the end of Little Mermaid when everything like comes together and her dad gives her the blessing and she gets to grow those legs. And it's just like adding that music that we've already associated with her desire to have this happen to her, like gives it that extra oomph. I don't know if that really ever made me cry, but it definitely makes me like, it enhances the joy of that scene when they do that stuff.
This is not related to that at all, but it just dawned on me like this moment, and I cannot believe you haven't brought it up in Tarzan when his parents are killed.
I did not bring that one up, and that one is super freaking traumatic. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, yeah.
I can't believe you didn't bring that one up. It just like hit me. I was like, oh my god, Tarzan's parents died.
I must have like subconsciously blacked that one out a little bit. Because that was one of my more favorite movies. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, oh my gosh. I think that one isn't as prevalent in my forefront because right after that he's like rescued and it's all fun.
Yeah.
But no, that is really different. What is it with Disney and killing parents?
Well, I was going to ask Brooke because she hasn't mentioned Frozen, and I think the last verse of "Do you want to build a snowman after the parents die" is like one of the saddest things in the world.
I think I've been so hardened to parents dying in Disney films that by the time Frozen came out, like I had been through so many of those moments.
Yeah.
I think it's harsh for kids now when they watch that, but I was like, I'm a pro at this.
I just can't think of any other. I feel like that's the first time I saw Disney do a thing where not only do they kill the parents, but immediately after is like a musical number about it.
Well, it's during the musical
Yeah, in the
number.
middle of it, yeah, where she's just like, I need you. Like, it's like this really sad moment where she's just like, look, you haven't talked to me in all these years, and now, like, we're alone. Like, you're the only, we only have each other.
That's
like,
another thing. Like, it just seems so real. Like, that happens.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, that's totally realistic to me, where, like, if you lose a family member, people kind of shut down and shut you out, and that happens. It's an unfortunate thing that people go through all the time. And that's why I think, like, to me, that doesn't stick out. At least in the Disney films, because it's happened so many times.
And it's funny, though, because as we're talking about this, I feel like one person could make an argument that we're only talking about the newer films, but it feels like with the exception of very select few, like the Dumbo moment and the Bambi moment, they definitely didn't dive into, like, deep, hard issues like this nearly as often until the 90s.
In Cinderella, like, her parents die, but they don't give you enough background to ever really get attached to those characters. It's just kind of like this fact that you know.
Or assumed, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, just this is how it was. You didn't know these people. We're not really going to show them. Here's the story.
Oh, I just thought of another sad one. In WALL-E.
Oh, WALL-E.
When he's about to die, and then Eve, like, has to save him and fix him. That part's sad. But then it's sweet. Mm-hmm. And she gives him a little kiss. And
there's a lot of that, like, sad to sweet kind of sadness in plenty of Disney films. I love WALL-E.
I mean, I think you still need to see it, Brooke, but Finding Dory definitely has a couple gut punches near the end.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
The other one that I haven't seen, we're pretty much listing every Disney movie, by the way, guys. Going back to the beginning.
They're really fucking sad.
All of them are fucking sad at one point.
Yeah.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
Wreck-It Ralph has a couple really, like, scenes in it. Especially when you talk about, like, nobody liking her and not having friends and...
What about Tangled? Is there, like, a moment in Tangled?
I haven't seen that one.
So when I watched it, there was no like standout moment like that for me, but maybe I'm broken now.
No, I think Tangled was a little bit more lighthearted. I mean, the only thing that would even come close is like it's really cute when they're riding on the boat with all the lights.
I was gonna say the lanterns, like that's a very sweet moment. It kind of reminds me, that scene reminds me of The Little Mermaid when Prince Eric and Ariel, it's like kiss the girl type of thing. That's what it always reminded me of. Not that that's a sad moment. That's a good moment. I like that one.
Well, now I'm feeling kind of blah, guys.
Yeah.
I know this has been a downer. This is why we didn't want to do our list earlier, because we were like, man, this is going to be like depressing to put together. And I really wanted to add more like happy cry moments. There aren't a ton. Coco's been the most recent one for me. I guess kind of like a sweet, sad moment in a recent movie by Disney would be like Moana, when she does the I Am Moana song and like Grandma Spears on the boat with her. Because I've talked about it a little bit before. It is this very defeating moment for Moana, and I think we can all relate to that. And then she kind of comes through it in this very sweet, empowering way. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a nice, tender-hearted moment, but I wouldn't necessarily say it would bring me to tears. But it is a little bit of an emotional time in that movie.
Yeah, it's a tear jerker, but not a tears aren't falling.
Yeah, it waters your eyes a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
It gets you feeling things for sure.
You're
I
at
don't know
least
about
aware
crying.
that you have emotion when watching it.
Like you realize, oh, I'm not a robot.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
feel
cold
things.
inside. I feel alive.
I'm scrolling through here. I'm like, there's got to be something that's an uplifting one to end on.
Cry. Well, if we're talking about Disney live action moments that make you cry, I was really upset when Binks died in Hocus Pocus.
I was about to ask about Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, I was like, there's sad moments in there, but yeah.
But yeah, when Binks dies and Danny's really upset, but then that also turns into a good one because he's so relieved to see Emily, his sister. So like that, it's a bittersweet moment. But I was really wrecked as a child when Binks died.
And Danny was so sad.
I know. That's how I felt too. She's
Her
crying.
cute ass little face.
I know.
See, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I don't like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids because, there's another fucking sad moment when Auntie fucking dies, gets fucking got by the scorpion.
There's the Mighty Ducks.
Isn't it Hans? Is that his name?
I've actually never seen the Mighty Ducks.
What? Oh, what about, what's the other one? Little Giants?
I think they did Little Giants.
That's
they
not
did the
sad.
Big Green.
No, it's not sad.
No.
Oh, are we talking about
Mighty
sad
Ducks
ones?
gets a little sad when, I think it's the third one when Hans dies. Maybe it's the first one.
There's a third one?
There's three. The D3 Mighty Ducks. You never seen all three Mighty Ducks?
Oh, shit.
Oh my God. Me and my older brother, we always say, because like they
D3!
we always say D3. But they have a chant, or they have like a saying. It's not quack, 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 but they're always like ducks fly together. And so that's what my brother and I always say to each other, because it's like we're family, we're ducks, we fly together.
Aww.
Yeah.
I think we already talked about the 3 Joyful Cry movies, and now we have nothing.
Yeah, there's no more.
Nothing to lean
It's all
on.
done. It's not a Disney movie, but there's one movie that I think robbed my soul.
Is
was
it
it?
animated?
Nope, it's live action.
Oh, okay.
The Neverending Story.
Oof.
Specifically, when Artax dies in the swamp of sadness in the
Literally.
beginning. It's horrible. I mean, I'm a horse person. I'm a horse girl. Always have been.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fucking horse dies because he's so depressed. And he sinks in the swamp. And Atreyu's screaming for him to, like, get out of the mud. And he can't pull him out. And he just sinks and he dies. It's fucked up. But yeah, it's not a Disney movie. But that one, that robbed what was left of my soul after Bambi. Just took it from me. It was gone.
You know, speaking of not a Disney movie, side note, kind of, while doing some of the research for the sad Disney movies, I was looking at some vloggers on YouTube just to kind of see like if they had different perspectives or like ones I didn't think of or seen some stuff like that. And this one chick had I'm not going to list her name, I'm not going to embarrass her,
Yeah.
but she had a top 20 most like sad Disney films. And that bitch's number 1 was Land Before Time. And I'm
That's
like,
not a Disney movie.
No.
it's not even a Disney movie. And it had in parentheses, not a Disney movie. I'm like,
Then
your
why is it on
video
the list?
is top 20 and your number 1 is not even a Disney film.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That is a really sad movie, though.
I was gonna say it's.
I will give her that, but it's not a Disney film.
I mean, we could do a whole episode on Don Bluth one day and what he gave Disney a run for his money, but he was a Disney animator and he wanted to make that with Disney, and they said no, so he made it himself.
Yeah, because they're like, we have done enough damn sad films, Don Bluth.
Don,
We're
we've done
trying to
enough
turn
damage to these
We're
children.
trying to turn a page here, all right? We're trying to make Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, give these kids some false hope,
Yeah.
Dude,
He's trying to
Man Before
kill
Time's rough.
Littlefoot's mom, and they're trying to write "Friend Like Me" from Aladdin.
yeah. Oh my God, she just gets got. That's sad. I can't think about
She
it.
gets got
She does. She gets got.
when she...
You know what's even sadder is that the girl that plays Ducky murdered by her dad
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
before the movie even came out. That's some sad shit.
Well, she saw Land Before Time. She died before All Dogs Go to Heaven came out, where she was the voice of the little girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They drew the little girl in her likeness as a tribute, which is
Yeah,
really
fucked
creepy
up,
and terrifying.
man.
Yeah.
That's some sad shit.
So,
This has been an uplifting episode of the Disney-O podcast. I hope you guys are not as sad as we are right now.
Yeah, I'm ready to like freaking go home and cry.
Yes. If you want to talk about any more sadness, we're here for you. You can talk about a moment where you were hurt so badly that you're still paying therapy bills over it. You can let us know by emailing us at disneydopodcast@gmail.com or messaging us on our various social media accounts like Twitter, where you can find us at DisneyDopodcast, or on our Facebook page, Disneydos.
Tune in next week when Brooke and I crack open another bottle of wine and continue to talk any and everything Disney.
Yeah, we're out of wine. We're going to need more.
I keep forgetting that Disney produced Heavyweights.
Yo, I
That
think,
movie.
can we like dedicate an entire podcast to talk about heavyweights?
I think we
Heavyweights is
should.
so good.
Lunch has been canceled due to lack of hustle.
Yeah. He is so good in that movie. He is so good.
The secret best character in that movie isn't Ben Stiller, but it's the German camp counselor.
Lars?
Yes, Lars.
Lars.
He's so good.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.